but I've not even gotten anywhere close.
What was I saying that was confusing?
No, it's not like it was confusing. No, it's how everything played. Like you explain a lot of things about these components, how all these ones, all these what do you call all these files that are here are the project files and all. And then in my mind, I was going to ask again, since we are working with React, is it that this project now we are working with React, we're also working with Next.js, we're also working with Tailwind. That's the part that was more confusing to me.
Okay, how do I put it? It's like how React is a framework built on JavaScript. So in React, you will write some JavaScript. Like even though there are some terminology that are specific to React, like function components. I mean a component returning HTML looking stuff, just like that. That's not something you see in JavaScript, right? It's exclusive to React, right? Well, even though there are stuff like that, there is still regular, plain JavaScript. Like, let me say, let me see which of these your function here. Like this submit function now I'm seeing on line 26. It's pretty much a regular JavaScript function. It's not peculiar to React. You can write this in a regular JavaScript project, right? So that's how Next.js is a framework built on React. Sorry, React in the first place is a library, a JavaScript library. But Next.js is a framework built on React. So in Next.js, you will see some React terminology like function components. These are from React. Things that are special to Next.js. If you can remember that head tag that you can see if you go to any of those pages, anything in the pages folder right now, I think if you open it, like that index, if you okay, there's no page here, just here, index, open index.
I've opened it.
Okay, yeah, that's true, it's open. Here you see the first import next, import head from next head. So this that head tag or what is something peculiar to just next. But the whole stuff about components and JSX, these are stuff from React. So in next you will see things from React. I don't know, that should not really confuse you.
Okay. But this project now is using Next, right?
Yes. So at least two peculiar things about Next that you can't find in React. One is the file-based routing. You see, there is no routing in this place. You can go to the website right now, click on works. You go to the page works. You go to the other place, click. If you scroll to the top, I think you can click on any of those. You go there, but there is no routing. You didn't specifically write it that if I click on, if I try to go to slash about, take me to this, show me this component. If I try to go to works, show me this component. You didn't specifically do that. If it was React, you would have had to do that. You would have to install React Router DOM and basically create a component for routing where you say, yes, if I try to go to this link, show me this component. If I try to go to this link, show me this component, something like that. But in Next, you don't have to do that. They just use regular file-based routing like your normal HTML, CSS projects. Another thing is the fact that you can write back-end code right here. Like, no need for double servers. Normally, if you wanted to do this now, this whole node mailer stuff, would have had to create a separate folder for like back-end. There will be a server there as well. So you have to start the back-end server, start the front-end server before you can begin talking between the two. Like send an API request and get a response. But in Next, everything is in the same place. You only started one server, and that one server does everything. So those are like two major differences. They are finished.
No, go ahead.
So
So now we are going back to this.
yeah, just write some stuff in the inputs and send, and let's watch the process again.
Oh, let me open my email. I see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I should actually open
Yes,
my
I can see
screen.
it. Yeah, I was going to mention that. Okay, so Joyce was already expecting to see that, but Cassie, did you see that? As the submit button was
No.
clicked, you didn't see that? Wahala.
Let me fill the form again.
Okay, so now watch the console and watch the inputs, especially when the submit button is clicked.
I think the is okay. Okay, it's going now.
Are you not seeing it?
Before, but it's okay now.
Okay. About to click the submit
Okay,
button.
so submit button is clicked. You see what's written on the button
Okay.
changes.
Yeah, something
Uh-huh.
from yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you also glanced at the console, you see we get an object showing all the values. That was that console log.
Genesis,
We did a console log of form values. The moment the button is clicked, you get the console log, and then maybe after like 3-4 seconds, you get that last console log. That one is a response from the server, from NodeMailer, saying message is sent or message is not sent, that kind of thing. So the moment you click the button, this submit form will change to submitting form, and then once a response comes back, the submitting form changes back to submit form, and all the inputs get cleaned back to normal. Okay, so there's this thing. Okay, let's not do it now first. So now everything is kind of cool because we can see the console. So we can see that yes, accepted. There is, the mail there is something in the accepted array, right? And nothing in the rejected array. So the mail was sent. But as a user that shouldn't concern himself with console, you wrote something in some inputs, you clicked the button. Sure, you saw something change on the button to tell you that something happened or something is happening. After a while, things went away. You can only assume at that point that your mail was sent successfully or that your request went successfully, but there is no clear feedback to you telling you that yes, this thing worked. So that's one error we have to, or that's one aspect we have to fix.
Do we need a page or that thing that rises on top of that place successful something?
Well, there are different ways to go about it. You can just choose some kind of different colored text, maybe below the submit button, since it will work well since the page is white. So you can just say maybe below the submit button there will be a p tag. Once the form is submitted, or rather once a response comes back. If it is a success message, something will show in green, message sent or mail sent successfully. If it is an error, if there was an error, a red message will show up saying, this is the error, that kind of thing. You could do it that way. You could do it in the form of an alert pop-up. Let me share this. Or you know what? Yeah, just go to this link.
Go to where?
Let me write the link.
I have a question. This message ID, is it auto-generated?
Yes, it's auto-generated.
Is there a time where you can use?
Is there a what?
What can it be used for?
It's not really for you, Sha. It's just like how if you try to make any transaction, you see transaction ID. It doesn't really concern you, except maybe in a situation where you wish to.
You're trying to track something.
You're trying to track something. But in this situation, it doesn't really concern you. I don't know what you could possibly do with that. It's just information, Sha. They will have to send it to you, but you don't really need it.
Where did this actually go?
I'm still writing. The thing is quite long. Sorry. Yeah, try that. Then let's also see.
Okay, you sent something.
Yes.
You sent a link?
Yeah, try going to that link. So do you see that alert?
It came up.
Oh, you didn't see? Okay, wait. Click on Blend SQL, the icon, or like top left. Click on it. You must log into Access Home. So an alert like that is also not a bad idea. I think there's a simpler one. Debt management, is that what I called it? I think this is it. Try the second one. Let me see whether it will work. It's not working. Okay, it works. Let me see. Where would you see it? Go to bonds. Bond offers. Yeah. Click on maybe two things. Add to cart.
Click on.
Add to carts. Just add two things to cart. Something else. Okay, go to the cart. Click on the cart. You're clicking on the icon. That one can't be clicked. You're clicking on the number. Click on the cart itself.
I've clicked though.
Okay, so check out. So this is another. You saw that one now. See? So those are like two examples of alert pop-ups. So that's one idea, because those ones, they will always show up on the screen. Like, you know about positioning in CSS.
Positioning.
Yes, in CSS. Like relative position, absolute position. So those alerts use fixed position. Fixed position is based on the viewport. It's based on the screen. So they will always appear in the middle of the screen at a certain distance from the top. But trying to write a p tag maybe below the button, above the button, it's possible that the user will not see it. Maybe they scrolled just enough that the button is at the bottom of the page. So when the success message comes in, it will be out of the screen. They wouldn't see it. They might possibly scroll back up and not see it at all. You get that kind of thing. So an alert is not a bad idea. Okay, so that's one issue we have to tackle. Can we go back to the what we're building? Another issue is errors. Okay, well, the point of alert would show, red or something if an error occurs, but how do we catch those errors in the first place? So there is this stuff, try and catch. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Heard of try and catch. Have you ever used it?
No.
Okay, so try and catch is normally used in situations where there's a possibility that there will be error. It's usually used in situations out of regular coding environment, something that requires user input, where you can't tell exactly what the user will write, and you would like to control the situation so that inputs outside a certain range, outside a certain standard, get flagged as errors. You use a try and catch, so you can set what should constitute an error, and anything that doesn't constitute an error is taken as a successful input and passes. Anything outside that becomes an error, and an error message is shown. Also in situations that have to do with server requests, because errors abound there. It could be poor network, it could be the server was not awake at that point in time, the server did not respond, those kinds of things. So usually those two situations, requests to a server and something requiring user input, those two situations usually people use try and catch, because error handling is important. So that's two things. Is there any other issue about this form? I think these are the only two things left to handle. So we will start with error handling, because with error handling, because to successfully do that whole alert thing, we need to have the error messages. So the error handling is what will properly give us error messages. Oh yes, one more issue. Validation for the inputs. Somebody try going back to the form. So in the name, write numbers, symbols, don't write any words. So this accepted this as a name, but is it a name? Does it even remotely
no.
look like a name? For email address, because of email type
Validation.
because of email type, you have to put at something dot something, something at something dot something, or HTML itself will not allow it pass. For message as well. Well, that one somebody can write jargon if they want, sure. It's up to them. So at this point now, the inputs don't have validation. If you were to click submit form, this form will be submitted. It will be submitted. It will not catch this as an error. So we need form validation. Remember how I talked about those two functions? All fields are not empty and all fields are error free.
Yes.
So we don't really need all fields are empty because of the required tag in the HTML. So that means with that required tag, an empty field will just not pass. However, we still need to validate the inputs. If any input fails validation, it should throw an error. It should just have an error state, so that by the time you click the form will not agree to send. So
but this error, this validation, will it be checked as when the person is typing or when the form is submitted?
There are three ways you can do it. You can do it on change. You include in your on-change function. So as the person is typing, you know, if what is typing doesn't match your standards, immediately the input starts showing error. You can set an error state. Maybe the border will become red or something like that. Yeah, so as the person is typing, once they make a change that doesn't fit, like in the name input, they write number, and the thing will just turn red. They know that there's an error. Or you can do it on blur. That means the moment the field leaves focus, so they are typing in a field, the moment they click outside that field, the unblur function will trigger, validate the input. If it has an error, immediately to show red. Also, last one, you can do it on submit. In your submit function, before you even get to the point of sending the request, you immediately do the validation, check all the inputs. Does this follow everything? If any of them fails, you quickly abort the function and show the errors. So, which of these three do you like?
I like it when the person is typing.
When the person is typing. And that one is the flashiest one. Okay, so let's go to the on-change function.
There was one on change this one that we had.
Yes, I'm looking at it. You passed it. Handle input change.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So, the setting of form values, that one has to be done, and it has to be the first thing. It's after the values are changed, and you now try to validate what you see. So, below line 22, you can now write a try and catch. Give one line. Okay, so write try. You see that second option there? Whenever you see that black, this thing, it's like a, what do they call it? A template. So this is what a try and catch looks like. In try and catch, you write try, and you write a bunch of stuff like, usually they are conditionals. So if something is like this, throw error. If something is like that, throw error. That kind of thing. So if whatever you did, passes through all those checks and there is no error, then everything goes well. There is no error. But if something, if it meets one of those conditions, it will stop there and throw an error. It will go to the catch block. So that catch block, you see there is a parameter inside, error.
Yeah, error.
So you can now use that error to do something, like say maybe display this error, assign this error value to this variable, something like that. Just do something with the error. Okay, so in the try now, we are going to put a bunch of if statements. Okay, so let's see. Just a moment. Okay, if e.target dot name, e.target dot name is equal to name. That one has to be in quotes.
Wait though. Please, is this one recorded?
Yes, it's recorded.
Okay. if e dot target dot name equals to
Yes, so that name is supposed to be in quotes. It's a string. Okay, so yeah, you would have to use regex here. Okay, let me see. Blah 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 blah. I think yes, that also had those three things. So let me say github.com /eu / okay. Is that not a link? Check out Meet. I put something.
okay.
It's a link.
Is a link? This is because I didn't put the HTTP. Oh, wow.
So I should just copy this.
Let me add the rest, so you can just click it and not stress yourself. Wow, how strange.
Okay.
Okay, so go to the SRC so that we won't waste time trying to come up with this. What did you click on? Go back. Go back. Components. Login form. No, register form. To have those three things. Okay, so scroll down. You see handle change. Yeah, there's a
Yes.
try and catch. Okay, you know what? Take the whole thing in the try in handle change.
Everything from const handle change.
From let's type equals to that.
Okay. I'm not still on the right track.
Yes, you are. Yes. Some things will be removed later, like first name, last name. Those ones will go. So 139. Stop at 139. Line 139. Go up one line. Don't worry, just copy that. We'll remove the unnecessary things.
Okay.
So
Let them test it.
put it on line 23. So just mark the try and catch, so you remove it completely, then paste that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, paste. Okay, so some things have to be deleted now.
Okay.
So let's go back to the top. So you can delete line 25, const handle change, because it's trying to like create a new function. The entire line. So now you see
The corresponding closing braces.
wait, go back up. You see line 20 and 27 are kind of like the same thing. It's just that my own state was set values. Your own is set form values.
Okay. So this one should go. So I should just replace it.
Not really. But
Okay.
see that line 25. Cut it from there
Yeah.
and take it to 19. In fact, is there alternate on your keyboard? ALT.
No.
There's no ALT.
What would is options
No,
there?
alternative opt. Up.
What?
OPT or something. OPT. Option.
Okay.
Press that option now. Up.
Okay, yeah,
Arrow.
and see. Let me see.
I pressed it.
Nothing is happening. Okay, because in Windows you can press ALT and
Alt.
up, and you just that line will be moving up, or the thing you marked will just be moving up,
ALT and what?
and the up directional key.
Okay.
Okay. So keep going up. Up 2 times. 2 times, yeah. Okay, so now you see we created variables. Said let type be equal to e.target.type, name e.target.name, value e.target.value. So that, like on line 22 now, instead of writing e.target.name and e.target.value, you can simply write name and value. Does that make sense?
No, I don't understand.
e.target.name.
This name represents e.target.
So let's
And
name
value is
exactly.
e.target.value. So
Yes,
you can just replace.
you can just replace those with name and
name.
value.
Okay.
So do that, replace them. Just cancel the e.target. Don't forget it has to be in this thing. The name has to be in square brackets. Square brackets. Okay. So that one is done.
No, not that one.
No.
Is that one supposed to be
No.
on?
The value is not supposed to be.
Oh wow.
Okay. So in the try now, you can remove 27 to 29.
This.
Yeah. Okay. So you see the first if statement. The first statement is saying if value. Okay. So that means if in that input there is actually a value, it's not an empty string, because empty string is a falsy value, so it won't trigger the success condition of that conditional. So if there's a value, then now do subsequent checks. If name is equal to password, what do we have? We have message, Abby. So we don't need that one. You can scroll down just a little bit. So all those things about passwords, if up to delete 28 to 33, in fact to the else on 34, just keep marking, go down, go right a bit, stop just before the if.
Okay. Here.
No, just before the else and the space. There. So delete that, because those ones are talking of password and confirm password. We don't have that. So now we have type email. If name is equal to first name, if name is equal to last name, change that name is equal to first name. Change it to if name is equal to name. Yeah, exactly. And the other one should be if name is equal to message, because what we have is email, name, email, and message. Okay. So now this email thing here, this is regex. It's a very long and complicated regex. It's annoying to explain it. Sure. But basically, this is like a standard for emails. Anything that passes this is a standard, is a correct email. So you know of this method, regex.testValue. Have you heard of that method?
No, not.
Okay, so if you have a regex regular expression you can use it to test strings if they flow with that pattern, like if they contain that pattern, if, or should we say if they pass that pattern, something like that. And that's why it's called tests. So you test this string whether it follows this pattern. It returns true or false. Okay. So
That's for the ones entered.
Sorry?
No, like for the values entered on the form, right? That's what to test.
Yes. That's why what is inside the brackets after dot test is value. So the value entered into that input, it will be tested with that regex. If the type of the input is email, test that value. Does it, conform with this pattern in that regex? If no, so you notice I put an exclamation in front of the regex. At the beginning of line 29, you see if not something dot test value.
Okay.
So that means
that is it false.
Yes, I want normally if the value passes the test, it's going to return true, and then what is inside the if statement will run. But I don't want what is in the if statement to run if the value passed the test. I want it to run if the value failed the test. That's why I put the not to invert things. So it's if the value fails the test, then that code inside would run. Throw new error.
What happens if it passes? If it
passes,
then you invert it to true.
If it passes, nothing in that place will run. It's like, if...
Hello guys, they come away.
Okay, no wahala. It's like if the thing is successful, just keep going. That kind of situation. But if it is not successful, stop, throw new error. Email address format is invalid.
Okay. So this curly braces will some.
Sorry, ask that again.
That's line 30 will not run if the if statement returns true. If the test returns true.
If the test is true, if the return of the test is true, that means the string, follows the pattern. That not in front will change it to false.
Yes.
So what is in the if statement will not run, because if statements only run if the condition is true. If the condition is false, it will pass it and go on.
Okay.
So now else if name is equal to name, there is another regex there. That regex there is about, it's just saying, the thing should start with A to Z.
Okay.
It should start with, let me see. Yeah, it should start with A to Z. Okay. I get. It should have A to Z or dash or dot, and okay. It's about words. The name should have. It should have, will I say, clumps of characters that are A to Z, that contain A to Z, hyphen or dot, and then there can be one name or more names. Yeah.
Okay.
So for name is equal to message. How should that one be now?
Maximum of two and no. Sorry, minimum of two and no maximum.
No maximum, because names, you can't tell how long a name should be. There are some really weird names.
Or someone's name can be Lee.
But you see, nobody's name is one letter. Yeah, that's the 2 letters. In fact, 3 7. I just decided to write 2.
Ah, two o, right? Two o. Li, Limi, Li. Someone's name is
Yeah,
Li in
it's true.
all
It's
these
true in
Korean
China.
names. Mm.
Okay, so else if name is equal to message. So what is there now is just one name, like one word. Two or so. Let me see.
Sorry, this check this if statement for for online 33. Okay, so it's like the two names, that's person's first name and surname.
Yeah, that was it. But it's not really. Yeah. First name and last name if they want, because you
And
see
last
that
name.
second
Okay.
thing there
Mm.
is it has asterisk behind it. Asterisk means 0 or more.
More. Okay, so
0 or more. So there at least has to be one name. Then you can add more names. And you see there's a space in that bracket.
yes.
So if you're adding more names, there should be a space and then
Space in
more
front.
names. One more name. So now this other one from message, we need to adjust that regex, because currently that regex is saying it only accepts A to Z, hyphen and dots.
Dot.
So just one letter. So we need to also accept numbers, because there's a possibility somebody might want to write numbers in there.
Okay, so I should put digits. D.
In fact, message, are we even supposed to validate message? Is there really anything that we can say can throw an error in messages?
Yes, because if somebody writes only numbers, I think with the form, the person is expecting a sentence.
A sentence.
That with the idea of this particular kind of form. Don't just write number, and it does not really communicate any.
Okay, so we can say there should be numbers, there should be alphabets.
Like this.
Not really. No, I'm just, first of all, we'll say it in English
Okay.
before.
Okay.
So there should be numbers and there should be alphabets.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And there should also be all this dollar sign or what do you supposed to say?
Those
How
ones,
many
if they are,
dollars?
those ones, if they are there or they are not there, it's not an issue. The main thing that we should check for is that there should at least be alphabets.
Alphabets, okay.
Yeah. So go back to that GitHub.
Alright.
There's something in regex, positive look ahead. So if you scroll up, okay, it's not, is it here? Just scroll up, sir. No, you're scrolling down.
Oh,
Okay, so the password, down, here. So
Okay.
the password, you see, if name is on line 37, if name is equal to password, that regex there. See, there is question mark equal to
Dot.
asterisk A to Z in square brackets. There is also equal to question mark equal to small A to Z. Another question mark equal to 0 to 9, blah 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 blah. So those are positive look aheads. The first one is saying if you look ahead from the beginning, there should be one of these, like A to Z, capital. There should be something, a capital letter. The one after it is saying if you look ahead, there should be A to Z, small letter.
that's equal.
Okay.
Okay.
There should be at least one small,
One or more.
one small letter. And the third one is saying if you look ahead, there should be either a number or one of these symbols. So in our situation now, what we want is just alphabets. We just want to see A to Z. and we don't really care about what else comes after. So copy the first look ahead, and yeah, from the bracket, yeah, just the bracket, yeah, just that. Okay, so yeah, replace up to the whole square brackets. Replace the whole square brackets. Okay, so now in the A to Z, capital A to Z, also put small a to small z. No need for another square bracket.
Okay.
In regex, those square brackets are very sensitive. Anything you write inside there is taken as a character that you should look for. So if you write square brackets in there, it will look for square brackets. Okay, so now this is just a look ahead. We need to put something, so we can just put a dot before the curly braces, 2 comma, let there be a dot.
Yeah, like this.
I'm not seeing where your cursor is.
Yeah.
The thing is frozen.
Oh.
Yeah, I can see things moving now. I'm seeing things moving now.
Okay. Can you see now?
Exactly where you are, a dot. Okay. So what this is now is, first of all, we have the cat sign saying that this is the beginning of the string. Then we have the look ahead saying it wants to see, or it's checking if there are capital A to Z or small to A to Z ahead. And then we have the dot. The dot is wildcard.
Any character.
Anything goes. And then we have this length stuff. It should be at least 2 characters.
Okay.
Should we even say 3? No, 2 characters. At least 2 characters. And then the
Those
dollar
2
sign.
characters can be like hi.
I guess hi. Then the dollar sign that says this is the end of the string. So this is fine. If it doesn't meet this standard, throw new error, invalid message. So yeah, change that. Invalid.
Instead of invalid last name.
Invalid message. Also change the other one from invalid first name to invalid name. And I guess following that format, we should also change the first one to invalid email.
Okay. Email address.
Okay, invalid email address. A capital I in the invalid. Okay, so we've basically, checked our inputs and thrown error if something happens, but that's not the end. Now, okay, let's leave the 40 to the end of this try first and go to the catch. Okay.
40 to the end of try.
Just leave those ones for now. We'll go to catch.
Okay. Line 46.
Yes. So, if error message is equal to, do we even need these? We don't need.
Hello password.
We don't need these. We don't really need these. There's no password. There's no email. Scroll down. Let me see more. I think there should be. Yeah, keep scrolling down. You know the reason why I had lots of these here?
No.
Because in that place, there were quite a few checks. For example, password now, there was a look ahead for small letters, look ahead for capital letters, look ahead for, symbol or special
numbers.
characters. Yes. Yeah, yes. Special characters or numbers. And there's also the length issue. And in that place, I just said throw new error, invalid password. So here in the catch, I now came to split things properly, where I will now say if the error message is invalid password, then start checking things one by one. Is there capital letter? If there's no capital letter, throw a special error. Now, I mean, the real error message will be no capital letters. If there's capital letter but there's no number, the real error message will be no numbers.
So these are these.
So it was here and now split things down small. If the thing is not up to 8 characters, throw another error. Password should be 8 or more characters. Those kind of things. But
that's really catch.
I don't really want to do that here. Besides, there's no password. So what we'll do, you keep scrolling to the end of this catch block. You see this else where you set error values. Okay, so delete from line 116 to the beginning of the catch block.
From line 116 to the beginning of the catch?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
No, like the beginning of the catch, line 47. To 116.
Like this?
The whole 116. Okay, you can delete that, then delete the rest of 116.
Like this?
Yes, like that. Okay. You see line 54, that's ending curly brace. It's no longer necessary.
This one?
Yes. Okay. So now, this sets error values. So what's happening here is I had 2 states, or should we say I had 3 states. There was a state for values for the inputs. There was a state for error values. Like if this particular input has an error, the error that should show for that input will be inside that state. There was also a state for has error. That one is true or false. So if this state has an error, its value inside that state will be true. But I don't think that one is necessary. We'll just use only error values. Maybe if your form values, you call the state form values, Abi. So you can create another state and call it form error values.
Okay, up here.
Yes. Its initial value would also be initial form values because it's also name empty string, messages empty string, email empty string. So if there's an error in any of the inputs, the value for that input will change to become that error. And so, empty string is false in JavaScript, but a string with something inside is not false. So you can do some conditional rendering later on that based on that state for error state. So now just create a new state, form error values.
Okay. To take in what?
The initial value will be initial form values. Okay. So when we are setting errors.
So please can you explain this why we are using the initial form values again?
Look at initial form values on line 5.
Yes.
This state, see, yes, mark line 6, 7, 8, 9 and press tab. 6, 7, 8, 9, not 5. 9. What of 9?
Okay.
9 as well. So this is just to adjust the formatting. So you can see it very well here. So like I said, the error values is a state that holds the error values for each of the inputs. Error values are strings. So it will have to be like this at the end of the day. Name, the error for it, message, the error for it, email, the message for error for it. So that's why we're using initial form values for that state. Okay, so form value.
So we are going to replace it with the errors.
So if you go down wherever you see error values, you put form error values. No, what you see is form error values, not error values. Like set form error values, rather.
Like this one now.
Yeah, so you can just write form before the set, after the set. Okay, and then if you see set has error, remove it completely. It's not needed.
This whole thing.
Yeah, we don't have a has error state. So, so you see sets. Yeah, so mark set form error values and press shift tab to move it back one space, one tab. It didn't work. Shift tab. Okay, yeah.
I've done it.
Alright. So you get what is happening here, right?
Not really.
Okay, so we're setting form error values. It's the same way or the similar way we set form values before. We passed in a function, with the parameter previous state. So we're returning, we spread previous state in an object, then we add a new property.
Sorry, continue.
We spread previous state in an object, then we add a new property with the name of that input, and the value would be error.message. Error in JavaScript is an object. So when you say throw new error so and so, the error doesn't come as a string, it comes as an object, and it always has a message property. So it's the message property that holds the actual message. That's why on line 51 you are seeing the value there is error.message.
So the message itself gets displayed.
Yes, the message not really gets displayed. The message itself enters that state, form error values. It will be in the return, the JSX part, that we can now do some conditional rendering that would possibly show the error if the error occurs. So if you also scroll up a little bit, you see at the end of the try block we did another set form values, set form error values. So you can see that the value passed to that is an empty string. So what this means is if a change is made in an input and the change does not throw any error, see at the beginning of the try block it doesn't throw any error, then it means that input doesn't have an error. So we reset, set form error values to an empty string in the just because if it had an error and you don't do this, the moment it has an error it will continue to show error because the error will never change back to empty string on its own. It's like you're writing name. For example, now we said name should be 2 or more characters, right? So the moment you write 1 character, it's going to throw an error that name is invalid. It's not up to 2 characters. So when you write the second character, it's now up to 2 characters. You expect the error to go away, right? But without this line 44 to 46, it won't go away because aside from this, there is no other place you are trying to get the error to go back to an empty string. That's why we are doing this.
Okay.
So if it doesn't cause any error, if it passes through those if statements, no error, then you should reset the error value for that input to empty string. But if it throws an error, when it goes down to the catch block, it should set the error value for that input to whatever the error is.
That's the error.message.
Yeah, the error.message. Okay. So I have a feeling these curly braces are not matching up. Let's go to the beginning of this function. Okay, we have the try block on line 30. Just follow that one and scroll down some more, scroll down. Yeah. Okay, that one ends here. So what is this? You see this closing brace on line 57? What's that one?
Yes. It's nothing. I think it was from the first one I removed.
Okay, so delete that. Okay, so our validation is pretty much complete. However, we've not.
But what of this one?
This one is for the handle change.
Okay.
So we've completed the validation, but we've not really used that error state, like the error values. We've not used it anywhere.
I have another question. Do we need this else statement here?
We're going to come back to it. We'll put a try and catch there. So by the time we do all that, we'll see whether we need the else or not. Okay, so let's scroll down to the JSX. So what should happen if there's an error in any field? Because there isn't really space to show the errors.
Okay.
So I think what we should just do is put a thick border, a red border around the input.
Okay.
So once somebody sees a red border, they should just know that something is wrong.
Is the red border okay? But aside from the red border, we need to say what error is, what the difference.
There's no space. There's no space to write it. It seems the guy did not really have error messages in mind when he designed it.
Okay.
So at least we'll see how it looks with just a red border first of all.
Okay.
Then we'll decide if we'll alter it a little bit. So if we look at your inputs, we have width, px something, focus outline on. Okay, so there is no border for your inputs, which is alright. So now you can do conditional rendering with Tailwind classes. You will have to do it in backticks. So your class name, after the equal to, wrap the entire string in curly braces and put
Curly braces.
Yeah, just mark the whole string.
Like this.
Yeah, then also add backticks front and back, like immediately inside the curly brace and immediately before the end of the curly brace. Also, it's not moving again. Okay, it's moving again. Okay, yeah, so remove the actual quotes. Okay, so everything still works the same. So now you can now add what do they call that thing? Dollar sign quotation, dollar sign curly braces, like string literals. So anywhere in that whole this thing, you just give a space and add something.
Okay.
Like there. Okay. So this is the name input. So we say form error values dot name. Okay. Then space question mark space put an empty string.
So with one, while we are
then colon and empty string again.
While we are recovering from the shock, we will have at least done our
okay, so if form error values dot name, return empty string. If not, return empty string. So
please try and get this statement from me, chicken. They need to buy a match.
But we want the one for so if form error values dot name is a truthy value, we want to put tailwind classes for border. So let me say border 2.
Is it in the or?
No, the if.
The else.
No, not the if, yeah.
Okay.
So border 2. You missed an R. 2. Okay, so this means 2px border. We also need a color for the border. Is there a tailwind? Check the tailwind.config.json. Let me see if there's a red in there. No, tailwind.config. Let me see the colors. There is no red. Okay, go to that GitHub. Listen, add depth management.
Okay.
Try going back to the SR, the main page.
Okay.
Yeah, back again. And back again.
What do you call it? That center you went to Abuja.
Okay, check tailwind.config.
Demola is still going to use that
There's a red. There's a red. Okay, copy that red.
Yes. Did he mention it in your meeting?
Add it to your tailwind config.
Okay.
He mentioned it or that this is the time he's going to use that information. You know, the thing is this, if you know how the structure is going to be, the new structure. Okay, the new structure is this. Okay, let me call it.
So, yeah, border red in back in the work. So border 2, border red.
Is this how to write it?
Yes, that's how to write it. So the first one is talking about the thickness of the border. 2px border. Then the color red border. So if form error values.name is a falsy value, empty string. But once it's a truthy value, the border comes in. Okay, so I think that's that. Do the same for email and message.
Okay. You killing something? Jesus.
I thought you copied it.
Okay, I think I did. No.
Ah, you didn't copy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you change the name to email. Also try doing something between all the inputs, give a space so that you can clearly tell where each input begins and ends. It's the way things are
Okay.
choked up. Okay, so I think we're ready to test this out. Are we missing something? So let's try writing in the inputs.
Okay. Write something that is not correct.
So in the name, write a number. It shows, right?
Yeah,
I
it
see
does.
red. Feels like it's not thick enough.
Yes, it's not that thick.
Okay, let's make it 4. So did you notice something?
What?
When the 4-inch border came in, the 4
It was
px
outlined.
border, the other things went down. So take note of it. Write something wrong and watch the other inputs. You notice that they shifted down slightly.
They shifted.
Slightly.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's because you are creating something where there was nothing. So the best way I've seen to combat this issue is to put the border there before, but make it now be switching between border transparent and border red, or
Oh
maybe
no, I'm lost. I'm lost.
that is the border 4, the 4px
Yes.
border.
Yes.
Remove it from the template literal and just write it normally. Like
Okay.
so that there is always a border. So what is changing is the color of the border.
Okay.
So in the else part of all the statements, you will now put border transparent. So there is always a border. If there is no error in that input, the border will be transparent. If there's an error, the border will be red.
Like that.
Yeah, like that.
Okay. Okay. Should I try it again?
Yeah, let's try it again.
Okay, it's not shifting now.
Yeah, it's not shifting. Okay. So if you cancel everything and write, yeah.
Oh, good.
This one now will vex you because the moment you start writing, you'll be seeing red. It doesn't matter what you write until you get to that .com. You'll keep on seeing red.
Okay. How can we change it? Like, because this one
It's
now,
annoying, Abby.
but this one is feeling this phone, I'm going to be like, so what did I do wrong now?
Exactly. That's why I started using on blur. So it's the moment you leave
On-
the field. I started doing
Okay, on
validation
what?
on blur. BLUR.
On blur.
Just like there's on change event. When there's a change that happens,
Yes.
there's an event called blur when focus leaves that element. So the moment the focus leaves that element, it validates immediately. If there's red, it just show red. So do you want to try that one?
Yes. Let's try. Can you try that one only for the email?
We can.
Okay, since we already set the e dot targets to each of them, is that why?
Not really. We can skip email if it comes to that.
Okay, let's do it on blur because I've learned this one already. Let's do it on blur.
Let's do it on blur. Okay, let's go back.
Okay.
So for each of the inputs, add another attribute on blur. Maybe you say handle blur.
Okay.
So you can do it at the same time in 3 places. Wait, shift back, cancel.
Okay.
So hold there. Come to the other place. Hold alternate and click there.
Alternates. Alternate should be option, Abi.
I guess option. Hold it.
And
The same place on the email inputs, right after handle input change. Click there. Do the same for the other place. So you can just write,
Oh.
on blur. Capital B, that's it. Handle blur. Okay.
Learn something today.
Yeah. So create the function handle blur. You pass in E.
Have I left that place now?
Yes, you can always look at the very right of your screen. You see how many parts are selected. Try selecting more than one part. Anywhere. So if you
Here.
it's still one part. It's still one part. Try selecting a second part. On a different line. No, like keep the cursor one place and press hold option,
Okay.
click somewhere else.
Okay.
Somewhere far away. You look at the right of your screen, the very right.
Yeah.
You see
Right. Okay.
how many gray lines there are?
Green.
Gray. Where's your cursor?
Gray.
Sir? Like move the
Here.
mouse. Move the mouse a bit. Where's the mouse? Okay. No, go to the very right. Shift. Keep going right. To the very end and scroll down. Just move it down. You see those gray lines, horizontal lines. You are not hovering on them.
Yeah.
Move the cursor down. That's one line. Move it down again.
Okay. And then there is another one here.
Yeah, but you are not hovering on where I'm expecting you to hover. At the
Here?
very right of the screen. Just from there,
This
just
side?
there. You see there are 3 lines there. There's 1,
Okay, 1,
2 and 3. So to check
Okay.
how many places are marked in your work, if you are confused, just always look there for the number of horizontal gray lines. So you can either press escape or you just click on somewhere different. Once you click somewhere different, they will go away.
Okay, so it's just this one here.
Just that one.
Okay. Okay, I get it.
Okay, so create the function handle blur and pass in the parameter E.
Okay.
Okay. So scroll down a bit, just a little bit. You see that stuff on line 30?
Yes.
You'll need that there. So copy that to that place. Because you'll be working with e.target.name, e.target.value, so might as well just have that there. Alright, so scroll down again. Okay, sorry. So the whole try and catch, cut it out and take it to the blur function. You're going far.
Yeah.
No, I think you stop at 60.
Okay, yeah. Cut it
Yeah,
like this.
yep. Also clear out the empty spaces. Okay, so put it in
Here.
yeah. Okay. So you can save and try it out in the
Mm. Why? Wait though, something's happening.
what's happening?
When I put numbers
Yeah.
and take the focus away, it turns red. But when I erase everything
Yeah.
and I'm still there, it's still red until I.
Yes. Until you go away again.
Okay.
Okay. I think this on blur is good, even without error messages. Once the person
Yes.
leaves, it will just show red. Okay.
Red, yeah.
So the next step now is to, let's say, include this in our submit. So in the submit function, yes, did you write that function for checking if all inputs don't have errors?
The one I sent to you.
Yes, you remember it?
Yes, I can still remember it.
Okay. So the neat way to do this, create another folder named helpers.
A folder.
Yeah, where there's components, data, pages. Create another folder named helpers. I think the helpers it's not really a component. Yeah, it's just be on its own. Helpers.
Is it capital?
No,
Like-
small letters. Helpers. Okay. So in helpers, create a function. Fields are not fields. All fields are error free.
In helpers.
Yes. Create in a file. All fields
Okay.
are error free.js. File.
All. .js like this.
Yes, .js like that. So in it, you create a function. Const
Okay.
all fields are error free is to take in an object as parameter. Check the object. If all the values in that object are empty strings, if they are empty strings, it will return true. If they are not all empty strings, it will return false. OBJ. Arrow. It's an arrow function.
You should check.
You can go back to WhatsApp and look at what you did before if you've forgotten what you did.
So what do you say should check?
It should return true if all values inside that object are empty strings, and false if there is even one value that is not an empty string. It should return false.
Okay. If all values are false,
If all values are empty strings, return true.
okay, if all of them are empty, return true.
Yes. This is not quite accurate. You could say if x.length is equal to 0, you could say if x is equal to empty string directly. Either of those two. Alright, so this is fine. Make the equal to triple equal to. Okay, now in helpers, or no, exports default, all fields are error free.
Exports
Do
in
it here.
helpers
No,
here.
do it here.
Okay.
No, all fields are error free. You are exporting default this function you created. Okay, so in helpers, create another file, index.js. Now in here, import all fields are error free. Yeah. Now create a constant const helpers is equal to an object, and the object will have, open the object to the next line, all fields are error free. Good. Now this can exist alone. You know, normally objects have, you know, key value pairs. Yeah, but you see this is not throwing an error. Do you know why?
Because it's returning just one.
Okay, in ES6 there is a shortcut, I guess, I can call it shortcut, for objects. So if the name of the key, like the name of the key and the value have the same, they have the same characters. For example, you have a property named name, and the value of that name is name. Then you can just write name and to admit it. So if a variable exists that has the same, you know, name or big characters as any property you are putting in an object, if you just write that property name alone, it will assume that the value for that property is that variable. So in this case, there is a function available in this file named all fields are error free. So if you write all fields are error free alone, it will take it, this is the property, and the value of this property is that function, all fields are error free. That's why you can see all fields are error free immediately turned yellow, because it's a function.
Function.
So export default helpers. So I know this might look roundabout, but the reason why we had to create this index.js is for the situation where we maybe later on create other helper functions. For now, there is only all fields are error free, so this might look like too much work. But if we had just a second helper function, then this would make a lot of sense, because if you want to import any helper, you don't need to think about the name of the file where the helper came from. All you need to do is import helpers from this file, and inside helpers you can get all the functions. So now if you want to use this all fields are error free function, let's go over to the contacts. I think you will have to close node modules.
This one?
Yes. So go to the top, import helpers. See, it makes it sweet. Whenever you need any helper function, all you need to import is helpers, no matter the function, because everything exists in helpers. Yeah. So go down to the submit function. Okay. So before where you set is submitting to true. Because this needs to happen before you set is submitting to true. It's only if it is true that you continue. Okay, go to the next line. Let's see. If helpers dot all fields are error free.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. In the brackets you put form values. All fields are error free is a function, so it needs brackets. No, sorry, form error values, because you're checking errors. Yeah, so if all fields are error free, form error values. Hey, remember I said to return true or false. Then let me see. Set. No, we can do that in try and catch. Put a try and catch inside line 66. Okay. Now you see from set is submitting. Copy or rather cut, mark all of that to the end of that if else statement. From set is submitting 73. Mark until the end of that else statement. Yeah, cut that and put in the try. Something is up. Let me see. Scroll up a bit. The indentation went too back. So mark from 68 to where the things you copied stopped and press tab 2 times. One more, yeah. Okay. Delete the extra space between dates and the catch. Okay. So scroll up, let me see. Okay, we set is submitting to true. We await this response. Scroll down. We await the response, right? So there will definitely be a response no matter what. Okay, so if status response is equal to 200, blah blah blah, all this happens, else throw new error.
Like this?
Yeah.
Sorry. Is it this one or this one?
Yeah, that one. So the brackets, in the brackets we're supposed to put what the error message should be. What should the error message be? The error message can be response.status text. If in that response, no, throw new error. When you say throw new error, you are supposed to write the error message you want to see. You know, you're saying throw new error, so you put brackets and put something in there. Brackets. Okay, so the error message will be response.status text. In the response object there is status and there is status text. Texts. Yeah. So catch error. What do we do with the error now?
This throw new error.
Yes.
Once the status text. In the response there is status text. But that status text that will show what that error is. If this is or if an error.
Sorry, ask that again.
Like if this throws an error, there is a property called status text which holds the error.
It's not like it holds the error, it's just the meaning of that status. You remember when we looked up HTML status codes? We saw 200 as okay, 400 was like, what was 400 again? Some kind of error.
400 was okay.
No, 400 is not okay. 400 is like bad request or something like that. Okay. So that's bad request or okay or accepted or created. Those are the status texts. For every
Okay.
status code, there's a corresponding status text. So we'll just take the status text. Now, this 87. Normally, in that place now is where we'll try to relate with the alert to say, success, this happened successfully or that failed or something like that. So now we have to create the alert. So that we'll not waste time. Go to GitHub. That folder. Go back to the source. Yeah, SRC. Components. Alert.jsx. So copy that.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Create a component in the components folder called alerts.jsx and paste all those things in there. Capital A.
Alert.jsx.
.jsx. Yep, paste it all. Okay, now scroll to the beginning. So, in React, and I guess Next, there is local states that affects only that component. You may pass it down to child components, that kind of thing. But well, let me see. Yes, there's also global state that is available to basically all the components, all the pages in a particular site, and you may use them at will to do what you want to do. So in this application, I needed this alert in multiple places.
Okay.
Would I still need that here? I feel like I will still need that here. Right? Because there's also a contact form the other way. Do I need that? Do I need that? Do I need that? Do I need that? We can do without it. Delete line 3. We'll do it without global states. So in the alerts on line 5, in that the brackets for alerts, pass in let me say alert props in curly braces.
Alert props.
Yeah, in curly braces. With curly braces, right? Alert props. Okay, so first thing inside the function, let's say const empty object is equal to alert props.
I'll write a new one.
Yeah, const empty object. No, like empty curly braces.
Oh,
Yeah, is equal to alert props. So we're going to destructure. With this destructure now, we are saying the things that we write inside that empty object, we are expecting them to be in alert props. So that means anywhere alert is called, props should be passed into it. So we want to pass alert, we want to pass alert type, and You know what? Just alert and set alert.
As strings.
No. Variables. Alert, set alert. Yes. So delete 789. Okay. Now we're going to make some modifications. Line 8 says let background equal to, if alert type is equal to error, then bg reds, else bg primary. But we don't want that. We'll do alert.type. So alert is going to be an object. Alert.type. Just put a dot before the type. And the type should be small t. Okay, so if the type property in alert is error, then bg red, else bg primary. Okay, 10. Cancel alert. Put set alert. No. Line 11. Change what is on line 11 to set alert. Yes. Set alert, then in the brackets put an object where message is an empty string and type is null. Yes. So use effects. Set timeout. Have you done anything with set timeout and set interval?
No.
No. Okay.
There's only
Well,
one time like that someone was explaining
promises.
delay.
Okay. Delay. Okay. So set timeouts is where you say this thing should happen after this number of time, after this number of milliseconds. So in this, it just happens once and usually stops itself. So in this situation, 5,000 milliseconds. After 5,000 milliseconds, run clear alert. Okay. Set interval. What that one does is it will just keep repeating the thing after the amount of time you set. So if this were to be set interval, after 5,000 milliseconds, which is 5 seconds, it will run clear alert. After another 5 seconds, it will run clear alert. After another 5 seconds, it will just keep running forever unless you tell it to stop.
I just checked the time now. It's almost 5:30.
5:30. I mean 3:30.
Yeah, like today is my work day.
Okay.
So it's like 1 minute to 5. Anyway, sorry. Let's say
3:30.
5:30.
That's what's
3:30.
confusing me.
It's 3:30 that I used to start work. Sorry.
Alright. So I think we'll just mark this down here and we'll continue later.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.